All right, so let's give this a shot from memory here. I'm going to call the meeting to order and look for a motion to approve the minutes from the June 2023 meeting. Do we have anyone? I unfortunately can't see, so if someone could just let me know if someone.
So moved.
And do we have a second?
Katie will second.
Great. And is any discussion related to the minutes? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Any opposed or any abstentions? All right, so the June 2023 minutes are unanimously approved. And today is our Sustainable CT Agenda Day. So if I could just turn it over to Jenny for a moment to maybe provide an overview of what we discussed last week, and then we can go from there.
Okay, thank you, Josh. So at the last meeting, some of the takeaways were that Susanna, the group talked about equity training, and so I was to send out information about equity training that's being offered by Sustainable CT. And so I sent that out, and there was discussion about that committee members, be helpful for committee members who haven't participated in a equity training to, if they can, participate. So the Sustainable CT equity trainings are free. And I looked on their website today. They have a summer training. I didn't see anything for the fall, but I bet you they will have something this fall. It's like a 3 half-day training, so it's a commitment, and you need to be able to participate in all 3. So, but I think it's online. And then the other thing that was discussed.
Excuse me, Jenny.
What's that? Yes.
I did sign up for that equity training, and have done one session. The second session was supposed to be this morning, but they had technical difficulties.
Oh, and how is it?
I'm a little disappointed, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
It's not quite as interesting as I thought it would be, or helpful, insightful. Nothing objectionable. I didn't disagree with anything that they said, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Definitely nice people trying to do something good.
Yeah, but not really anything that is new to you, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't really want to. I don't want to go into it too much. I don't want to badmouth them, but they did not get a lot of response from the other people, and when they ask questions and comments. I don't think it was just done, and I don't, but nice people, and saying the right things, that's for sure.
And it's online, right?
It is online. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. The other thing that was discussed was about PowerSmart, which is the battery storage program that is being offered for Connecticut residents. And it is smart power that has like a solarized style campaign for municipalities. So it's Smart Power, the organization that is promoting PowerSmart. So, a little bit of play on words. So Smart Power did present to key town staff people about the program. And right now it is with the town manager's office to determine whether this is something that the town is willing to participate in. And Peter, since you attended the meeting and you've been in on the emails, if you want to add anything, please do.
I'm not sure what's worth adding, except that I thought that it was the town manager, the head of the building department, Mike Ninto, two of the fire marshals who I don't know, and they asked good questions, and but we're certainly non-committal about where they're going on this, and yeah, I think that's about us. You know,
Okay.
just don't know where it's going to go. I hope they do approve it.
Yeah, so Lynn sent a follow-up email to the town manager this week, so you know, maybe we'll hear back in a week or two from the manager's office. So that was what was discussed at the last meeting, and the follow through on that. And I met with the superintendent of schools today, and among other things that I talked to him about gold certification through Sustainable CT in 2025. And one of his requests was if there could be specific actions or action groupings maybe pulled out of Sustainable CT that this committee would say, here, we're hoping that the school can be working on these things because it seems to interface with what the school's already doing, He said that would be very helpful to really give school staff direction. So I don't know if that's something, Susanna's not here tonight. She's the representative for the Board of Ed, but maybe that's something that Susanna could work on. Now that she's not here, we could volunteer her. So, but the other thing that I had thought would be helpful is to have a joint committee meeting like we've had the past two application cycles on Sustainable CT, just to really bring committee and the staff people that work with the committees on board with really pinning down like what they're working on. Does it apply to Sustainable CT, or could it apply to Sustainable CT if it were framed a certain way? So I think that could be a useful endeavor by this committee. So I wanted to bring that up. And that's it from me.
I may be going through a dead zone here in a minute, so I apologize if I break up, but I like both of those thoughts, Jenny. That seems like a very useful way to sort of make progress on moving the ball forward. Are there other entities in the town like the school where there may not be like a committee? There may not be like a committee or something that we would workshop with, but that we could pull out some things and say, here are some things that might be useful for you all to work on. I'm still getting familiar with the town and the different departments and everything. So I didn't know if there was something an analogous entity to the school where it might be helpful to do the same for them as well.
Are you asking, Josh, if there's a comparable committee for the schools like the Sustainability Committee? Is that what you're asking?
No, so you had mentioned like, there's, to do some sort of like joint working groups with some of the other committees in town. The school didn't seem like maybe it would have had one, and that's why it would have been useful for us to try to pull some things out. I was wondering if there are any other, government type entities in town that wouldn't have that committee that we could work with, where they might fall through the cracks if we don't sort of help take the initiative.
Well, there's the Board of Ed. I mean, they would be one of the committees invited to
To do the joint.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know. I could ask if there would be other applicable committees. Does anybody else know? Okay. So what do folks think of the idea of a joint meeting? Could be on the committee meeting night, so at 6 o'clock. I mean, if there's before the pandemic, we did a light dinner, and we had a very good attendance. That seemed to be much more conducive to interaction than online, although we had a lot of participation online during the pandemic. Maybe not as much interaction though. So what are your thoughts on that?
Somebody walked in at a certain point for me. Ginny, tell me again what the point of this of this meeting would be. What would the purpose would be?
Well, like the other meetings, to explain what Sustainable CT is. There might be committee members that weren't involved in previous joint meetings. Then to state, okay, here's what the town would like to do. It'd like to get gold certification, and here's what's asked of a town to do gold certification. If you recall, a couple meetings ago, the Sustainable CT intern did an analysis of what points we got in 2022 that could be rolled over for 2025. So that would leave the remaining actions that needed to be. It's it's a gold certification's a heavy lift. So that's why it's 2023. It's 2 years, almost exactly 2 years from now. So, but we need to be taking action now. So that's why to find out what our committee's working on. Does any of that fall under the umbrella of Sustainable CT? And if it doesn't, is there some modification in what they're doing so that it could fall under the umbrella of Sustainable CT? So I think that would be the purpose.
Just an alternative way that I would look at it would be that instead of asking other committees to try to wrap their heads around what is Sustainable CT and what their role should be, because I assume that they're as busy, they're busy doing their stuff. I wonder whether someone should look at some of the particular points and do that work of saying, oh, here's what the school board could do to earn the town points, and then put that into a very short letter and say, the town's trying to gain gold status in sustainable CT. Here's what it is. Here's a link, and it looks like the school board could do these specific things, this kind of specific thing, and if it wanted to participate, and do the same for the solid waste management or solid waste, whatever it is, and maybe some of the other committees. In other words, that's just another way to do it. It's more work for whoever is going to do that parceling out. But at least right at the moment, I feel like if somebody wants me to do something, just ask me what, to do it, rather than ask me to figure out what I'm supposed to do.
Okay.
Just a different, not necessarily a better way to go about it, but just a different way. And it might induce any of those boards to say, well, we could also, we don't want to do this, but we could do this.
Is there a kind of a combination of those two approaches where we sort of have the meeting to introduce them for those that aren't familiar with it, and just let them sort of have an opportunity to tell us what they're doing, so that when we are looking through the different points, we have a better sense of what they might have going on and what might be, so like, whereas it's still our committee doing the work, we at least give them the opportunity to kind of educate us some more on what they're doing, so we can maybe identify those types of projects that might be a good use of the sustainable CT points.
I was just thinking it might even be more helpful to do the inverse of that, if we were to present them with potential things they could do, and then we had the meeting where we could discuss.
Or if throwing out, maybe it's you don't send them an email, which they can ignore pretty easily, but somebody says, well, here are some ideas for the solid waste management committee, and then asks to attend one of their meetings. So rather than use up a whole meeting of ours and a whole meeting of theirs, say, could we have 15 minutes of your time? And it's just one of us shows up, or two, whoever wants to.
And I did that sort of thing with the Human Rights Commission. I went to their meeting. It was 2 months ago or a month ago, and asked them about creating a town equity statement an equity statement to bring to town council. And also there was discussion about equity training for members on the commission. So I did kind of that thing what you're speaking of. And that was because those things are required. So it's not like an option, but it's a requirement in order to get gold certification. So yeah, I mean, one of the things that you all and I have access to is looking at the minutes from the committees to glean what kind of things they're working on. I mean, that's easy enough to do. Just go to their minutes and read what's happening. So with that kind of background, the committees could be approached.
I agree with Elena. I like the idea that we approach the committees with some ideas of what they could do. I'd also be willing to go through minutes of different groups and see if there's anything that way that we could do. I think, because we can get on to the town website and look at all the minutes. I'd be willing to take some time and do that.
Katie, I can give you, as a starting point, a list of the committees that were invited, those committees that seemed like they were relevant to the Sustainable CT actions. I could give you that list. I mean, it's certainly you could.
That would
It's
be
a long
great.
list.
Yeah.
It's a long list. Okay.
Could I
Okay.
have that too?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I think that's a great way to get a start on it. And I do think that if we word it in such a way as emails to the different committees, this isn't going to take a lot of time out of your meeting, but we've got some suggestions for you. Do you think you could do this? Could you at least talk about this? I don't see any other way to go right now. I can't see a meeting, a big meeting until maybe the fall or something like that, or next year. I don't think we have enough to set up for a big combination meeting right now.
It might even be helpful with any suggestions that we're able to identify to have like a timeline, because I feel like stuff like this, we could, get it moving, but then it just totally stalls until 18 months from now, we all realize, oh yeah, what's going on with these things,
All right. Well, I'll provide both you, Lena, and Katie with the list of committees. And Lena, are you in that list? Are you also offering to look at, glean over minutes, divide up
Yeah.
the list with Katie?
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Okay.
I think that'd be great. And even if we have the list, we'll both maybe glean different things from the two different perspectives. I like it.
That sounds perfect.
Great. So the other action that could fall in Sustainable CT is a deconstruction policy or initiative. It would probably be it doesn't really fall in any of the categories. There are 12 categories, but it would be like an initiative beyond those categories. I mean, eventually they might have some kind of deconstruction action under infrastructure, which is where waste goes. But so there are some representatives from this group, Susanna and Katie, and anybody else, Katie, from this committee? You and Susanna and.
Well, Matt's with the school with
But
E.O. Smith.
Yeah, but who's been
Suzanne's
meeting?
school board.
Yeah. So I think the other people are from the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, looking at, where to go with how we could make things happen with deconstruction, head in that direction. So that could be an action that this committee with SWAC is
Right.
under.
that we could come up with something and have it go to Planning and Zoning Regulatory Review Committee, and then they can look at it and they will bring it to Planning and Zoning. And then Planning and Zoning can vote to add it to their zoning regulations.
Yeah. So. So where the group is at right now is their next meeting will be looking at questions that are going to be asked of contractors. So Suzanne is working on those questions that will be posed to contractors to see what kind of practices are going on. I think Susanna, Bill Susanna is also going to talk to you, Bill, about
Okay.
so right, it's yeah, about because you did contract work.
I did
you
not,
know,
yes, I did.
So she can talk to you about practices and what might be the barriers, where contractors could use support if this committee could somehow in some way provide it, whatever that is, like outlets for the materials might be a limiting factor or something like that. So
Right.
so that's in process. I don't know if there's anything else that this committee would like to be working on that falls under the auspices of Sustainable CT.
I went to to that Mansfield Tomorrow meeting last night. I think it was last night.
Yes.
Yes, I was there also.
Oh yeah, I saw you, Katie. And it occurred to me that that it's all interesting stuff, but for me the most interesting part for me is the future of buildings and how we're going to renovate buildings and what buildings will be building new. And that more specifically, that what I'm interested in is the town when it is looking at HVAC systems, that they're always considering electrification first. In other words, air source or ground source heat pumps, and not looking to replacing natural gas or propane heating systems with the same. That has, and they have to make a good faith effort to make that work financially, which I think shouldn't be all that hard with the incentive programs that the state and the federal government are throwing at towns. So wasn't sure how to go about it, but as you're in the context of this, I'd be willing to begin to think about a letter. I need to understand the Mansfield Tomorrow project better, but at least to write a letter on behalf of the Sustainability Committee, saying just that. And I don't know whether that would fit underneath any of the Sustainable CT categories. If it would, that would be great. If it doesn't, then I would still be willing to do that.
Well, the whole nature of the Mansfield Tomorrow plan, when it's updated, if it has this focus on sustainability, that definitely does fall under Sustainable CT. And as it stands now, that's one of the rolling credits, is the Mansfield Tomorrow plan, because it is so dense with a variety of sustainable actions or actions, I would say. So it's a long document, Peter. But,
Well,
at least looking at the different categories and maybe honing in on one or two, that might.
well, they broke it up last night into three parts, the Northwest neighborhood and the Parks and Recreation, and I guess a fourth, the disabilities focus. So first of all, I would segregate my comments to the buildings studies. And then beyond that, they already have a category for energy efficiency and sustainability. So that's the only part that I'm interested in. It's not the only part I'm interested in. It's the only part I'm willing to do some work on. I am interested in all the other parts. So if we can strengthen the energy efficiency and sustainability parts of the Mansfield Tomorrow planning document, then, and we can get points for that under the Sustainable CT program, so be it.
Katie, correct me if I'm wrong, but under the Mansfield Tomorrow plan, under the PZC regs, solar is encouraged, but not necessarily, it's not required,
Right.
certainly. I don't know that it really speaks to passive solar, like just place, how you plunk down that structure, like you position it so that it maximizes. Yeah.
I don't
like
think we
that's-
can tell them, I think the regs are more for setbacks, how close you are to wetlands, things like that. It's usually the architect or your contractor that might suggest, well, you'd be able to heat your house easier if you had this south side with all windows or something like that. They are people that we would need to contact that way. And to help the person that's building the house do an informed decision. But I don't think there's anything in the regs that say you have to do it a certain way. You just have to make sure that it's a good structure. We don't even say that it has to be out of sustainable materials or anything. We just say it has to, it has to be a strong structure that can stand the test of time, and that we're not going to tell you what would be a great thing for, please go with solar, or please go with something else.
In the Mansfield Tomorrow project, the part having to do with buildings, I think, is just about town buildings.
Correct.
So when I'm talking about directing anybody to do anything, it's directing the town to do things about its own building. So if the town decides to replace the HVAC system for town hall, for example,
Okay.
I would like to weigh in on that.
I see.
I'd also like to weigh in on what the PZC directs, but I think actually the PZC has done a good job of allowing and encouraging high density development, which is a really important part of efficiency, energy efficiency.
Josh, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
I mean, for me today, like my main goal coming into the meeting was to just make sure we were continuing to make progress and had sort of a plan on how to continue to make make progress. Not wanting to have that 18-month delay happen. I didn't necessarily have a good idea for how to do that, but I thought that some of the steps you laid out right at the outset, Jenny, are going to help to keep things moving. And depending on how my work goes over the next couple of weeks, I may also be able to help with the minutes. But I'll be in touch with you on that front.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So, Josh, do you want to ask if there's any other business?
Sure. Is there any other business that anyone would like to discuss tonight?
People are shaking their heads if you can't see them. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Shaking their
right.
heads, no, I mean.
Okay. And so remind me is it a motion to adjourn that I ask for?
Yes, yep.
All right. I would ask for make a motion to adjourn.
So moved by Katie.
I second.
All righty. So that's that wraps